this crackpot theory is Johanna's ancestors were originally from an area in District 2, hence their last name, Mason. Now, I think this is super interesting because if you really look at the sort of naming conventions that Suzanne Collins has used throughout the trilogy, most of the characters' names indicate, what district they're from, what they do, things like that. For example, Thresh is from District 11, and threshing is actually like some process that grain goes through, I think. So that's just one example. So the fact that Johanna's last name is Mason is really interesting, since a mason is like a stonemason, right? Someone who works with stone. So you would think that she would be from District 2, but yet she's from District 7. So what do you guys think?
My heart's beating really fast.
I know, right?
District 2.
There's since you are the District 2 mayor, is Mason a common last name in your district?
Yes, actually, which is why I'm surprised I never thought of that before.
So I do find it really intriguing that Suzanne Collins chose to give Johanna the last name Mason, because a mason would be someone who works with stone or brick in District 2, not someone who's cutting down trees and making furniture or making paper or whatever it is they do in District 7.
Well, here's another little piggyback to the crackpot theory is what if they're talking, or what if she's referring to Freemasonry and like the secret society with the Masonic temples and all that.
Ooh.
Just put that one out there for you.
Well, if there's anybody in this group who's liable to be a Freemason, it would definitely be Crystal. So she's the only one who would know about that kind of secret society stuff. So I would leave that. I would leave that to her. And Crystal, any truth to this Freemasonry that she was going with here? The more you read about Freemasons, it's kind of creepy, actually, if you look back into their history. And I don't know if Suzanne Collins would have gone into that territory, but I don't know. I mean, is it possible that Masonry or the name Mason could have something to do with lumber and chopping down trees, or is it? I guess it's strictly stone, right?
Yeah, I checked on Wikipedia. Now, our friend V, a.k.a. Aim My Arrows High, she's publishing a Panem companion this fall through Smart Pop Books, this fall. And she created a complete etymology of all of the names in Panem, and you can find it online at her live journal, which is aimmyarrowshigh.livejournal.com. And I believe that this etymology will be included in her companion guide as well. But I just decided to look up Johanna and to see what she said specifically about Johanna's last name. And she wrote, "While Mason generally refers to stone layers, this doesn't make much sense, considering that Johanna is from D7 and their specialty is lumber and forestry. Given her involvement in the Quell plot and the Second Rebellion, it's possible that her surname takes its origins in Freemasonry, a belief system commonly called a secret society. Freemasonry uses the metaphors of operative stonemasons' tools and implements against the allegorical backdrop of the building of King Solomon's Temple, to convey what has been described by both Masons and critics as a system of morality veiled in allegory and illustrated by symbols." So that's one interpretation. But another interpretation is that somehow she is originally from District 2, but it's hard for me to give any validity to that just because we know that travel within the district was impossible. So...
What if it was forced travel? Like, I think, Kait, are you tweeting on Victor's Village tonight?
I am.
Was that you? Yes, you just tweeted, so does everybody with the last name Farmer or Baker have to come from a specific district? And maybe this is because I'm reading the Song of Ice and Fire books, but each kingdom has a last name that they give bastard children that has to do, so like in Winterfell, where it's cold, all the bastard children or the illegitimate children get the last name Snow. So what if there was some kind of political scandal in District 2 that resulted in this person who's one of Johanna's ancestors being given the name Mason, and it was so scandalous that they got shipped off to District 7, which is why they have that kind of outlier name.
That's really interesting. And as far as the baker and farmer thing, baker to me wouldn't count because there could be bakers in every single district. But there aren't really stonemasons anywhere else except in District 2, as far as we are made aware.
Right. It would be like minor in District 12.
Right.
I don't believe that it's coincidence because I don't think that anything in the Hunger Games is sheer coincidence. But is anyone considering that last names are passing over, because this is a post-apocalyptic society, but at the same time there were still last names before then, and the last names carried over. So she could have had ancestors from our time with the last name Mason. It didn't necessarily have to come from Panem itself.
And that for me is probably the most accurate explanation. Because Malark, I mean, that's not really associated with anything. So I think it probably is like a pre-Panem name that was passed down.
I just want to applaud all of you because that was an amazing discussion that I just listened in as a spectator. It's an incredible discovery and intelligent use of lexicon and history, and I really liked the Game of Thrones book reference there, Shylah, which I just learned something new from you. I didn't even know that about the bastard names. I just want to say I think this is one theory. I'm generally skeptical, but I think this might have a chance of not being completely crackpot. I don't know. Should we go around and get crackpot or not crackpot, as we often do in these situations?
Sure. I will say that it's possibly not crackpot, but I think Kate's explanation of it being a pre-Panemian or Panamian, I don't know, a pre-Panem name that was just passed down, I think that's probably the most likely explanation. So I will say probably crackpot.